Okay, so thanks for joining everybody. We've had a lot of questions about the M1 zoning. We wanted to talk through some of the things that we have and some of the things that we know. And so the first thing that I wanted to do is pop a few links into the chat room. And let's see. And so, and I'll do this afterwards after I turn off the recording. But so this is really exciting. We want to make sure that people know what's going on, right? So the first thing that we want to make sure people have is this folder that SDEV has been putting together. It's every single document that we have on zoning. And so if you click on it, what you'll see is that the zoning is following the master plan that the city put together. And so we have a copy of that there. They have a couple of different reports. Here's another master plan map. There's like 50 maps in this document. So you have to open it and you have to look for your zip code to see what is happening, right? So what we recommend is that people sign up for Zonedetroit, because the work isn't done, right? There's a lot of rezoning all over the city and in Southwest Detroit. And you will be invited to some meetings and you'll find out what are they doing? Why do they want to do it? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, right? So you need to be clued in, attend the meetings. And so if you go all the way to the bottom, first of all, there's all these reports that you can open up and read. The very bottom, you can sign up for the newsletter and you can find out what they're doing. And you know, in 2021, there's going to be many more meetings about changing the zoning, either from residential to to industry or more stores, or M4 zoning down to M1 zoning or residential. So I'm wondering if Katie or Prisha, you can grab that link and throw it into the chat. So that'll go in there first. The second thing is what we want to show people is to sign up for the text list, because as SDEV gets this information, we're going to be sharing it with people. And there's a lot of things that we want folks to be aware about. And so, for example, I just want to run down the list, and I think there's probably a really big list, but I'm just going to share what we have right now. In 2019, we helped stop a cement crusher from expanding, from bringing a cement crusher to a business near Patton Park. If you know about cement crushers, silica is worse than asbestos. But if you don't know it, it's just a cement crusher, right? So our job is to find out all the different details about what is happening. And so we want people to sign up and get the emails, right? Get the text. 2019, 2020, we had 2 overturned rail cars right here between one on Scotton and I think Prisha, one on Clark, right? Like up here. And it was a hazmat situation, and for a little while we didn't know what was in it, right? So we want to alert residents and other people who want to know what's happening in the neighborhood as we find out. 2019, the dock collapse near Fort Wayne. For about a week, there was a lot of questions where people didn't know if there was uranium in the water. There was a lot of sort of activity over there, and we were posting as we found out, but we'd like to talk to residents faster and sooner. So as we get information. And currently right now, there's reports in between like Dearborn, Detroit, down Dix Highway. reports of like a soot that is like around people's houses. And so Sarah Chung, who's on the call, has been knocking doors and talking to people and conducting surveys and trying to collect samples and just to try to get a visual on what's out there. In 2020, 2021, us and SDEV and a big group of people we're working on truck routes and anti-idling. So we don't want trucks to sit there with their engines on for more than a few minutes. Sometimes you need to wait, so you're waiting and you're idling, but for more than 10 minutes, 30 minutes, it's actually, there's an ordinance against anti-idling. It releases a lot of emissions at breathing level, right, to our houses and to our faces. And so we are trying to work on that ordinance right now. And then we're also, there's been a big report that's going to be released on truck routes. And so we've also been working on that and providing information along with other teams and other nonprofits, the cafe group, to make sure that we are giving really strong input on where they should and should not be. They should not be on small side streets. There's very specific places where they should be. And then we're reducing emissions, right? In Southwest Detroit through fleet projects. We help fleet operators with lots of trucks decommission the older ones, and we help them access newer ones so that the emissions have less impact in our neighborhoods, right? So these are just a little bit of why we want people to join the text list, because we need folks to care about these things, bring questions to City Council or, Planning, Economic and Development or BSEED. We want them to attend the public hearings, to know about them, to attend planning meetings so that as these things are being developed, people can make comment. So we're really looking for folks that can, join us on these calls and join us making comment and writing letters and, having meetings like this one where we can just talk through the documents and talk through what it is, right? And forecast what might be coming around the corner. So, in addition to the links that we have is the zoning ordinance, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like. And so just that was just a rundown of why this is important, right? So when you click on this, it redirects you to the City of Detroit zoning classification. So as you begin to look at maps, it'll have these designations. I don't know if I can show this appropriately. Let me see. Yeah, right here. Let me figure out how to share this document, but maybe that's right. Here we go. So you'll see like M1 limited industrial district. It tells you very specifically what you can and cannot do. Right now, along north of Toledo, between Toledo, Grand Boulevard, all the way to the train station. Let me see if anybody's waiting. Nope. Okay. We are M4, and so it's all the way to Livernois. So this is M4 Intensive Industrial District, and so the City Planning Commission did a study and recommended that we move from M4 all the way to M1. So this is, it's mixed land uses, and it's got very specific things and they can do, and I think also that people can be like warehousing, wholesaling, light industrial uses versus M4. And so the zoning classifications document gives you all of this information, which is really nice. It's a big document that helps you understand all of the different zoning classifications. We go back to the list. So we have the City of Detroit zoning ordinance, what we just looked at. Zonedetroit, which is kind of the planning for evolving either in or out of some of these existing zones. We have the SDEV text list. We want you to join. And then we have our folder. It's a big folder, and I think I might have already shown it, but in this folder, we will add every document that we have, press that we find on the events, right? So, and we're just going to look at option A. So right now, City Planning Commission and many residents here in Southwest Detroit and a lot of organizations support the original option, and this is the map. Let me have it open. There we go. There's a lot of documents in this one. Okay. So you can see the railroad line and plumber and military. So just west of us here. And then you can see the one that's being debated right now. There's a lot of pieces here though, but the one that we're debating right now is Graham Boulevard right here. Some property on the right-hand side of it and on the left-hand side. And you can see that it's M4 on Vinewood, Hubbard, Scotton, and the ones in question though stop at Clark Park. So you'll see that it's highlighted right now. That is what is being the meeting will be about on Thursday. And so if you look on this map, you'll also see, let me see if I can make it bigger. Oops. This is right of West Grand Boulevard. So there's some other currently empty land that is zoned M4. But right next to them, you'll see that there are houses here on 25th and 24th and like Ruskin. There's all these residential houses here. So all of these residents have requested that this be reduced to M1. And so we need folks to join the meeting on Thursday and you know, and provide their comment. So I just want to mention to everybody that we are recording the meeting, and if you have questions, if you can put them in the chat, and maybe somebody, either Parisha or Katie, can read them out to everyone. So hi, Mari and Lindsay. We're just going through some of the maps that are being debated right now and the current zoning. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. So these are the documents that we are using to talk to people. And so I'm really curious if anyone has any questions, or is there any confusion about what is being proposed for Thursday? Nope. Okay. Let's see. So, Lindsay, I'm going to just go over this again really quickly. Oh, there, I see someone coming in. Hold on one second. Okay. What we have is, what we want everyone to know is that they should sign up for the zoning, download the zoning classification. I think that the link is in the chat, and we can put it in the chat again. We want people to know what the zones mean in accordance to the city of Detroit. And when you click on that, what happens is you get a document like this, and it shows you, wait, that's not the document. It shows you all of the different classifications. It looks like I have 20 open right now. Yeah, so when you look at the maps and it says R1, R2, the zoning classification link gives you all of what the what it means. So right now we're really concerned with all the industrial district classifications, and so we want everyone to be able to access that that link. The second link we have is Zonedetroit. It's all the future work that's going to happen. That one, is everybody popping those links into the chat? If not, I can do it as soon as we're done. I just can't see it for some reason. But if you go to Zonedetroit, you can sign up. You can look at all the existing documents that they have so far. You can sign up for the newsletter, and you can see where they're going to be next, and just all the plans that they have so far for how they're going to rezone all the residential areas, all the mixed industrial residential zones. The other one is, again, we are asking people to join us via our text list. We've just unveiled it, so we haven't used it yet, but we had in the last year and a half, just in the last year and a half, about 10 incidents of needing to get to residents really quickly. There was a cement crusher that wanted to get a permit. We also worked to provide comment for the marathon permit that they were requesting to be let to not, what is the word? I'm failing. I can't think of the thing. They were asking that an ordinance not apply to them, and so they were asking to be let out of this permit. And so we also provided comment for that. In 2019, 2020, we had overturned rail cars back here, and it was a hazmat situation until we all understood what was in them. Of course, 2019, the dock collapse. There's some soot right now being reported in Detroit and Dearborn that we're working on to talk to residents. In 2020, 2021, there will be another ordinance, actually two, around anti-idling. There will be an amendment update, and then we're also going to work with the City of Detroit, lots of other folks around the truck routes ordinance, and so that we actually make it into like a law. They should not be on side streets. They should not be on small streets. They should not be crossing through residential areas. And then, of course, we're working on reducing emissions all the time through helping with some projects for fleets to access funds to buy newer equipment. So yeah, so this is what we have. It's like we were wanting to answer any questions that people might have. Okay, I can see the chat. Okay. Yeah, so that's a really good question. Let me see if there's any other. So I just ran through it really quickly. So that's a really good question. I think it feels like a compromise because these are already existing businesses. So I think that what could happen in the future is if, for example, a business went out of business or sold a lot, that is an opportunity to, before somebody else comes in, go in and rezone it and ask the city to help rezone something. But because there's existing businesses, I think it's difficult to downgrade the zoning while they're in them because they've been there for a long time. The one exception I feel is the properties that are west of West Grand Boulevard. They are currently empty, and so that means they are not critical to their operations. So I think there's many assessments. Yes, those lots. I think Crown owns a few of them, and then there's another Maroon family, or and then Crown, and then there's like another group, and they have them, and so they cannot make the argument that it's critical for their operations. Like this is a moment where we can make a really strong argument for no, you know, we don't want any industry there. Like they're empty. So it's not like somebody who's currently here and they say, hey, I've been operating already for 20 years and I was planning to do XYZ. They can't make that argument. They are currently empty. So they're not critical to operations. And we don't know what they might propose. Is the second sort of comment is we don't know what they're going to propose in the future. So there's no current like proposal, I believe, from on their part of we want to do, you know, we want to, you know, build a building, or there's nothing on the books that I know of. The third thing is that for the things that they currently own, they have not followed the current ordinances and rules. They've been fined. They've been, they haven't, I think there was a lot of blight tickets when they owned the train station. I mean, they don't, in my opinion, have a record of being good stewards of what they do own, right? So, so when someone is proposing something, we don't know that they're actually going to adhere to what they're proposing, or that they're going to maintain, you know. And the bottom line is that we have between Clark and Grand Boulevard, on Brandon Street alone, I'm not even counting Toledo, at least like 18 young kids under the age of, you know, they're like not even teenagers. And so we know there's more children that way, and we know that people are buying houses, and it's really difficult when people have bought houses not knowing that 5 years down the road there's going to be, you know, trucking, you know, so we think that for such a, you know, vibrant and growing area of the city, that the city should really commit to, you know, the taxpayers and the residents who are, you know, in good faith buying homes. And so, so we definitely want people to look at all the maps, we can send out all the links, register for everything, learn all of this language, and hold, you know, city council accountable. And yes, let's see, here's the meeting information. So, and the other thing that is really important in this moment is that all of the city council will eventually all also vote on this. And if you have friends in other districts, this is a good time to call them and say, hey, I need you to call your city council, or send them an email saying, you know, we need you to support what the residents want in that other district, you know. So I'm not sure what the language could be, but there's a lot of suggestions. And we do have some language that people have been sending out that we can share. Are there any other questions? Let's see. Yeah, you know, I so I'm a little speechless, right? I'm personally speechless about why they would allow businesses so close to residents. And so one of the other things that we're going to find the link and we'll send it out, but in the folder that we are creating, there is a master plan, and the master plan, the city of Detroit is designed to make it more walkable, make it more resident friendly. It's designed to attract, smaller businesses, like coffee shops and things like that into neighborhoods. It's designed to attract residents. It's designed to do all of these things. And I think it speaks to the Detroit Future City, also that plan. And so there's been a lot of planning, and so I feel like there's this one side of this vision for the city of Detroit that uplifts like residents and walkable areas, and then there's this old historical behavior of bowing to industry. And I think industry is great. It's just that there needs to be a buffer, and it needs to be in the appropriate area. We want jobs, and we want people to come, and we want businesses to thrive. It's just difficult when the people that have these businesses don't live here, and they are, bringing, noise. I live on this zone that we're discussing, and there's clanking at middle of the night. There's they drop the big the containers. They drop them. They're moving them. They're dropping them. They sound like car crashes in the middle of the night. There's noise. They've just put up lights everywhere because I guess they're working through the night, and so there's this glaring light now in the middle of the night. There's dust from a lot of the behavior, like a lot of off the tires. There's dust all over the cars and the houses. There's high emissions, and recently we have a new behind on Scotton, a new tenant to one of these lots, and it's the United States Postal Service, and they come up and down Brandon and Toledo, and they cut across. They're not using the routes, and so there's just all this really, like, industrial activity that just feels really sort of surreal, right? You're having, a coffee in your backyard or a beer or something, and you're just in the middle of this industrial zone. And so it's a little bit surprising that they would hand over this land with trees that somebody wrote a grant for. Somebody wrote a grant, I think it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. He lives on 25th Street. And I believe it was a KIPD grant or something, a Kresge grant, I forget. But it was a lot of money to develop that park. And the city didn't take advantage of it, and they held it, and then they handed it over to a company. Like, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. And so, what I would say is, please knock doors and talk to everybody that you know in the neighborhood. Call everybody that you know and have them join that meeting, and really express your thoughts, and put them in writing, put them in the chat, just express all of your thoughts. And so and I think going forward, like, attend all of the meetings and invite everybody to the meetings, because there is a window of time sometimes when there's planning right before it happens. If there's enough comment and engagement, I feel like that they know that we are engaged and watching. So we have to watch for those moments where they're just beginning to have that conversation and we stop it. So that's, we're just asking everyone to get agitated and get activated and knock doors and talk to people. And when you talk to your neighbors, like, ask them for their phone number and tell them, I'm going to text you, like, you need to come to this meeting. So with all of that, I feel like I'm just chatting about this frustration. Let's see. I think those are really important questions that we need to ask. We need to ask the city council members. One concern that I keep hearing from 3 or 4 residents is, you know, how can I phrase it? Do city council members disclose? Do city council members disclose their relationships? And if their relationships are too close, you know, will they recuse from a vote like this? You know, so Katie, I don't know, without naming names, you could talk about the research you've been doing and how difficult it is to get this information.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So Wayne County has a campaign finance portal where you can go and supposedly you can see of any kind of city worker, council members, but also in public works or any public employee where they've taken donations from. It's basically a schedule of receipts. You can see what they've been refunded for, what they've gotten rebates for, and who's given them direct payments and in-kind donations. But it's very challenging because the portal makes it look like you have to know exactly what year the donation was made, what sector it came from, the name of the committee, the finance committee that the representative or council member or other public official belongs to, because they don't just take donations in their name, they'll take it in you know, friends of council member so-and-so. So they have to have these subsidiary groups. And the truth of it is there's not much way around it other than to download the entire database, which is what I did. And you get almost, you know, 1,000 entries that you then have to scroll through to find what you're looking for. On top of all that, a lot of personal individuals and businesses will make donations in the form of these political action committees. And so if you don't know the name of the PAC that the individual or business is operating under, then you wouldn't know whether or not any contributions have been made. And there's a deadline for reporting financial contributions to campaigns, and people can make donations up to election day that then wouldn't be listed on public records until well after election day. So there's a lot of roadblocks, and we're going to be looking at putting together some training or some educational materials of how to pay attention to things like that, because like Lindsay said, it is really important to know who our local decision makers are affiliated with, because sometimes saving face is more important than you know, the residents that they serve, and we need to change that.
Absolutely, and it's not easy to get to. I definitely think we need training, and I think we need to have the courage to ask those questions in the meetings. You know, at SDEV, we sign a yearly conflict of interest disclosure form, and we do it every year, and we talk about if there's ever anything that looks like there might be a conflict. We discuss it, and we think through, like, what's the best way to handle this. And so it's a concern when there is not transparency around things that affect our lives, like this, that sometimes we're not sure why someone's making a decision that's and it looks weird, and so you can't help but be suspicious, and then there's no way to really find the answer. And so we definitely want to look into it and provide some training and get trained ourselves, and create transparency or create some interaction around it. So because it's really, it's devastating to see that cut down. It's devastating to think like what's going to be there in 5 years, like trucks, like, we don't know. And so it's disappointing, and and so we need to just keep working on the skill set that we need, right, to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future, and that we can stop, as permits come up, that we stop inappropriate applications that don't serve the neighborhood. So I don't know if there's any other questions. Let me see. And I don't think I see any. Okay. So, and if anybody has these skills, like, let us know. So we're definitely needing some additional information. So we're going to share all this information with everybody, and then reach out to as many people, again, reach out to people and have them join, because we've won some, not we, like, as the neighborhood has won some things, we have shown up and surprised people. And so I think that if we mobilize a lot of people, that they might pay attention and do the right thing. So if there aren't any more questions, Katie or Prisha, do you see any in the chat? We will email you offline, and we are available. And so if you have any additional questions or ideas, like, you can let us know. We're going to share all these links, and if you find anything, please share it with us.
Lindsay just shared one thing in the chat, which was a petition supporting the resignation of Councilman Benson from the Green Task Force because of his support for this industrial zoning.
Great. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. We definitely were in conversation with them this week. Yeah, there's about 5 tables that we work with. There's probably more, but like the Detroit Environmental Agenda, Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice, the Green Task Force. And we definitely shared all this information with everybody, asking that they support the residents of Southwest Detroit, right? What they want. And so we'll take a look at that right now. And thank you a lot, so much. And we hope to see you all on Thursday. Yeah. Okay, look for an email from us, and then we will be, we'll be in touch really soon. Grab the chat. Copy.
Yeah, I was just copying the chat.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, see you later. Bye.
Okay.